A new Netflix series is taking a look at the impact humans have on wildlife, and it's calling us to make some changes.
That's right. Here's a preview of Our Planet, narrated by famed nature documentarian Sir David Attenborough.
This is the story of our changing planet. And what we can do to help it thrive.
Was it under the earth, tied up in a knot, which I forgot you were ever there? What's that I see?
Well, for more on this striking show, we're joined now by some of the series filmmakers. Keith Scholey is a director of Silverback Films Limited and series producer of Our Planet. Alongside him is BAFTA and Emmy Award-winning cameraman Jamie McPherson, as well as wildlife filmmaker Sophie Lanfear, who produced and directed the Frozen World episode. Thank you so much for joining us. So I first got to ask you, because we just played a little bit of this, did you consider anybody else to narrate this?
No. Right from the word go. I mean, we've all known David for a very long time. We've worked with him, and when we said, look, we want to do this great show, and we also want to have more impact, he said, I'm in with you boys, and we were together all the way down the line.
He is the voice of God/nature.
That's right. Like I was saying to you guys earlier, whenever I'm like out there diving or when I'm taking a nature walk and I see something interesting in the natural world, in my head, I'm using David Attenborough's voice to narrate what I'm seeing in real life. Jamie, there's a moment, though, in the series, and the series takes a look at a number of different unique situations, but there's a moment where you take a look at Chernobyl, which a lot of reporters covered, and it was such a momentous moment in that country's history. And you look at it more than 30 years after that catastrophic disaster. What did you discover?
I mean, we discovered that nature comes back. If left alone,
life
those
wins.
Places, life wins. Yeah, life will find a way. It came, that was full of wildlife, just haven't been left alone. So, yeah, it's a stunning sequence.
People thought that nothing would ever grow there, or nothing would ever inhabit that part of, would ever inhabit Chernobyl. And we're showing images here from the film, and this is remarkable.
Yeah, I think that, people will think of some of the BBC series about the world of a planet, and I'm curious about what you think is different about this story of the planet. Right
from the word go, we wanted to be a story of our time. I guess we've all been making wildlife films for some years, some of us longer than others. But we've seen that the fact that nature is really, really under threat now, and it's time to sort it, and we can sort it. So we decided to make a series that would show that change, but also to show that it's fixable. And it's really important. People often sort of get down and gloomy about it, but we know the problems, and actually we know the solutions.
Right.
We just got to do it.
Sophie, there's another striking moment in the film, in the series that you actually directed, where you see just tons and tons of glaciers collapsing into the ocean, just an indicator that the planet temperatures are rising and the fragile ecosystem. This is just remarkable as you watch this image and you just think to yourself, you happen to capture this, but this is happening all the time.
That's right, yeah. Especially in the north of the planet, it's warming twice as fast as the rest of the global temperatures on average. And this is shot in Greenland, and the Greenland glaciers are thinning, and as they thin, they travel faster, and so you get these massive calving events, like the one we filmed in the summer months. And I mean, you just can't fathom the amount of ice and power that's going on in shots like that.
Can I ask you, when you were on location shooting that, you've been doing this for quite some time. Did you notice any difference in terms of the flora and fauna that had changed over the course of your career in shooting in areas like this, where, in other words, for example, we've seen films where polar bears are struggling to find ice to, they swim greater distances than they ever have because of these melting ice caps?
Definitely. I mean, we travel all over the world and we work with people that live in these areas long term, and we're all seeing every location pretty much we go to, especially in the north where warming is so apparent and sea ice is basically declining. And there's a sequence at the end of Frozen World's episode that's quite strikingly shows that, and it's quite a hard watch.
I just want to ask, you guys are probably good for this question. I want to ask you questions about the technicality of capturing some of this stuff. I watched a portion of this movie, of this series, that showed an ant with fungus growing out of it. I can't imagine how small the ant was, but I know the fungus was smaller than the ant. How do you capture something like that?
We have amazing macro lenses for that particular scene. Very talented cinematographers that captured it, but able to bring that world to bring it up to scale. Is
there a balance between, because I also noticed that sound plays a huge role, right? You can hear the ants sort of walking, the music, obviously, the narration. Is that something that you're sort of constantly trying to balance? Because I imagine that you don't want to overproduce it, but you want to sort of pull people in.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredibly important, actually, how those elements come together.
Yeah.
We were really lucky. We got a fantastic composer, Stephen Price, who did Gravity and got the Oscar, and he went and worked on our series. And Steve's score gives the emotional heart to this series, which I think gets you. And then combine that with David's voice, and you have something that really, really drives the series through.
Yeah.
Is there ever a moment, I think the audience will always want to know, we as journalists sometimes, we are not allowed to intervene when we see horrible things happening in front of us. Is that the same situation for you? And how must it affect you when you see some of the things that you see and not being able to do anything about it?
Yeah, it's very effective.
You can't watch something like that unfold and not be affected by it. But I think, a lot of the animals we film are scared of people. So for humans to interfere, sometimes that's the wrong thing to do because you put them under more stress. And I think when you watch something really hard like that, you have to look in the mirror and think, okay, is this human caused, or are humans creating this problem on the kind of longer term? And if that is, let's try and do something about the root cause of the problem rather than the kind of one individual that we might stress out by helping it. So you can't kind of save them all, but what you can do is publicize the bigger problem.
But you do probably feel the need to, I want to rush and save that little baby.
Of course, each time. It's horrendous, but
The thing is, though, that once you intervene, where does it stop?
Right.
And you as journalists would know the same thing. Once you've got engaged, how do you get out?
Right.
And in the natural world, that's often very difficult. So generally, watch and leave alone.
Yeah.
Sophie, have you thought out?
Have I what? Sorry?
Thought out.
Just about. I think my feet might still be.
Keith, Jamie, Sophie, thank you so much for stopping by. It's such an important series, and it's loved around the world, and I can't wait to see this next iteration. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.